Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to University of Life. Just before we get started, I hope you had a chance to try out that emotional grid exercise. Um, I'd strongly recommend you start using that along with a bit of meditation, and there'll be another set of these kind of cognitive exercises that we'll be walking you through. Again, really important to begin doing this because your emotional energy state is really critical to all this. You can imagine that it's like building a muscle. If you're thinking about creating your dream job and maybe connecting with people you haven't connected with and all that sort of thing, very, very useful stepwise to be taking yourself from a position of maybe a little uncertainty, a little bit of doubt, up to a stepwise, bit by bit over time, to a higher kind of emotional state, because that's what'll make this lots of fun and easy and make you really effective in situations that are going to come up as you move forward with this. So today is really important because we're going to be talking about how to design your dream job. So in order to create your dream job, of course, this is actually an exercise in incredible common sense. Makes a ton of sense to be thinking through, hey, what do I want that dream job to look like? Now, when I talk about to people about what they want their dream job to look like, often that's confusing for people because in this culture, it's very unusual to talk about that seriously and kind of explicitly mapping out the components of what you want to do. So we're going to be talking. I'm going to be walking you through a process to do that, which is probably for many people something new that you haven't experienced before. So often when I talk about this, people say a couple of things. Well, they might say, well, they talk about what kind of job they want to have. Like, I want to be a musician or a microbiologist or an accountant or what have you. That's common. The other thing people often say to me is, well, gee, I have no idea what I want to be. In fact, I find that really rampant amongst university students, high school students, and often people, people who have been through that as well. So the second one, being confused about what you want to do and not knowing, we'll deal with that in a moment. So let's talk about the first one, where people are saying, "Hey, I want to be, I want to be a musician, I want to be a painter, I want to be what have you." Very useful to dig a little deeper than that. So I often will ask people, well, why do you want to be an accountant, for example? And people will often come back with, well, I want financial security, and I know that I like working with numbers, and my mother was an accountant or something like that. And those are perfectly good answers. But what I want to do through this process is help you think even deeper than that. What is deeper? Why do you really want to do that? And what do you actually want to do with your life? This is a really important question. I'm sure you've spent many, many, many hours, maybe many years, answering questions for other people, like questions on exams or assignments or what have you. And I'm sure those are all really important questions, and the people involved, they're very noble people, and they're providing stuff that's of value. But this is really important. What I'd like you to do is take a few minutes to think through, what is it that you want? What is it that you want for you? This can be an earth or life-changing process. Why is that the case? Well, basically, it's because this is your life we're talking about. You deserve to be doing something that you really, really want to do, not something that you think you have to do because you have no alternative, but something that makes you really excited, gets you really engaged, gets you up in the morning, and allows you to contribute to the world in a way that is really meaningful for you and really enjoyable for you and productive and profitable and that kind of thing. Most people, I think, have this backwards. Most people think that the way to approach this sort of thing is to sacrifice now or for a period of years in order to get a secure job or what have you. And then once they have that, then they can take a big sigh of relief, and then they can be happy. And I am here to say from my own experience, and people around me, and tons of literature on this, which suggests that that's actually backwards. The thing to do, and again, obviously you can do whatever you want, and I could be totally wrong with this, right? I mean, that's a given. But I think what you'll find is that if you explore what people have written about this, and if you talk to people who have taken two different approaches, one is to start with what they wanted and then created that on their terms, compared to starting with what they thought they could get. If you can compare the two, the former tends to work way better than the latter. So the thing to do, I think, is to figure out what you want to do, make a plan, and create what it is that you want to create, and enjoy it along the way, and then you'll end up being happy, and you will create the financial security that you need. Now, if you happen to be one of those people where you're kind of going, I honestly have no idea what I want to do, or if you're one of those people who think, I don't even believe it's possible to just decide what you want to do and then do it, and I get that. There are people that believe that, and earlier on in my life, I was one of those kind of people. So if you're in any of those camps, I'd say don't worry about it. The reality is no one knows for sure what they're going to want to do until they've actually started doing it, right? So for what it's worth, I wanted to be a veterinarian, and till I got to be one, then I decided I didn't want to be one of those anymore. So like a lot of people, I kind of took a bit of a circuitous path. It's all worked out fine. I've gotten to do what I want to do, and so don't worry about it. This process is going to take you through. If you don't know exactly what it is you want to do, it's going to start breaking down the elements of the components of any job, and allow you to design the things the experiences you'd like to have, and the people and the money and that sort of stuff that you'd like to have as part of your job. And then the exact path will emerge over time, and you can't predict it anyway. Okay, so here's the process. Number one, what I'd like you to do is set aside about 45 minutes free uninterrupted time where no one can bother you. If you can't do it right after you've listened to this, commit to doing it over the next couple of days or so. It's like anything. It only works if you actually do it. So please commit to doing this. Second thing is get in the right mindset. So again, this is the emotional energy thing. This is blue skying. This is just an exercise. It's for you to figure out what would totally amaze you, what would be really, really cool for you to do. Nothing is too big and nothing is too trivial. If you want to become a billionaire working out of your cottage, write that down. I've never seen anyone write down anything that was even remotely what I would consider outrageous. Okay, so do that. A couple of metaphors that'll help you with this. Think through, what would I do if I knew I could not fail? Because you won't fail. You may end up doing a few forward and backwards and trial and error, but you won't fail. You will, if you follow this kind of approach, you will get what you want, what you want to create. Another one is just to consider, hey, if imagine you're on your deathbed. Nothing morbid, just, you've had a great life. You're, 150 years old. You've had a great life in perfect health. You're now on your deathbed, and you go, ask yourself, did I invest my time the way I should have? Write down the things as we do this exercise that'll make it so you can say, yes, I did invest my time doing the things I wanted to do, contributing the way I wanted to do, with the right kind of people and with the right kind of abundance for me that I want. Okay. Then we're going to ask you to take out a sheet of paper or use your laptop and write or type at the top, my dream job. Okay, because this is a little bit of an exercise of brainstorming. Again, free and easy. There's no wrong answer. The thing is, this is a chance to actually think big about what you'd like to have. You can follow the categories that are on this chart here. So let's start with number one. So I'll kind of walk you through them, and then you can take half an hour or so and walk through these different categories and write them up like we're talking about here. So number one, we're going to ask you to take 5 minutes for number one, that I'm calling content, and brainstorm out, if you can, first the actual job you'd like to have. So if you know what it is, write it down. So it might be accountant, marine biologist, musician. If you have more detail, like I'd like to be a violinist, or I'd like to be a jazz violinist, or I'd like to be a concert violinist playing in Carnegie Hall, write that down. If you're not sure, or regardless, write down the things that you like to do that happen in a job. So it might be, I really like talking with other people. I like problem solving. I like reading and researching. I like working out. Whatever it is for you that kind of content-wise in a job are things that you'd like to see happen. Again, whatever feels right for you, take 5 minutes and brainstorm that out. Number 2 is the kind of people that you'd like to work with. So this is really important, and often it doesn't come up, until you actually are in the working world. Turns out it's it's probably a number 1, but it's definitely very, very high in terms of job satisfaction. What are the kinds of people you'd like to work with? So personally, I kind of like working with people that are fun and positive and supportive and creative. Any other kinds of adjectives that you can use to describe people that you'd like to work with, write those down. It may be, and it's unlikely, but it may be that you'd rather work with people who are, negative, boring, judgmental, or, serious and focused and that sort of thing. Whatever makes sense for you. If there's a specific person you'd like to work with, maybe there's somebody you know right now that you'd like to work with. Write that down. Spend about 5 minutes brainstorming that out. Number 3 is where you'd like to work geographically. So it's very simple. Just brainstorm out for a bit over, say over your working life. Where would you like to be working at? It might be your hometown. It might be where you live right now. Maybe that you live in your hometown right now. Or it could be somewhere halfway around the world, or it could be multiple places all around the world. It might be that you'd like to spend some time, part of the year in your hometown and part of the year somewhere around the world. It might be that you want to spend, 10 years working in some country that's exotic for you now, and then come back later to raise a family. Whatever it is for you, spend 5 minutes going through that. There's nothing outrageous that you can come up with. Anything you can come up with, people have already done it. If you want to live, if you want to work out in space, I'd say put that down. That is not outrageous. Okay, so number 4 is money and things. So a good idea is to start thinking about, hey, what kind of money do I want to make? What kind of savings do I want to have? What kind of things do I want to buy with money? That's all totally fair game and very helpful. And if you're worried about being selfish, don't worry about that, because there's another section coming up here about contributing to others. So think about and kind of brainstorm out how much you'd like to earn per year, and over what time period. What would you like your net worth to be, and by when? How much money you'd like to have saved for a rainy day or for retirement or something, and then what kind of things you'd like to buy. When you dig into this, most of us are pretty similar in the kind of things we want to buy. We want to have a house or somewhere to live, a car or some kind of means of getting around. A lot of people like travel, and that takes money, or can. Sometimes it's other people's money. You can figure out a way to do that. Lots of us have hobbies and pursuits that we like to, that we want to do. So start brainstorm those out. What kind of house do you want? Do you want a mansion in the city? Do you want to live in the country? What kind of car do you want? Is it something that's environmentally friendly, or maybe it's something really exotic? Maybe it's something that's incredibly exotic and environmentally friendly. Where do you want to travel? I had a grad student of mine one time who wanted to go to Edmonton, and because we were doing this exercise, turned out she changed her mind, decided she wanted to go to Australia, and her class project was to get a free trip to Australia. So, which she did. So nothing is particularly outrageous in this. Think through the kind of travel you'd like to do, over the next year, 2, 5, your lifetime. Make it as exciting and interesting for you as you'd like, and take about 5 minutes to brainstorm that out. Number 5, as I was mentioning, that's contribution to others. So obviously, doing stuff for yourself is really good and very positive, but most of us also want to contribute to other people on the planet. So there may be some way that you'd like to do that. Spend about 5 minutes to brainstorm that out. It may be there's some cause you'd like to work for. Maybe it's world peace, or maybe it's global climate change, or maybe global social justice, or it might be something more local, something in your own community that you'd like to contribute to in some way. There may be a group of people, or maybe there's some kind of animals that you'd really like to help. Or there may be some kind of environmental issue in your local area, or something globally that you'd like to contribute to. Think about what would be amazing for you. Feel the feelings of how impactful it would be for you, how meaningful it would be for you to contribute in a meaningful way towards something that really matters, that helps other people or other beings or the environment or something, anything like that. Another good thing to do is to think, what kind of role model would you like to be for your kids in that regard, or for your kids' kids? So feel that feeling of contributing at that level. Take about 5 minutes and brainstorm that out. And then the final one, number 6, is work-life balance. So again, this is super important. As you probably gathered, our whole intent here is to set up for you the kind of work experiences that are, fun and enjoyable and healthy and that sort of thing. But work's only part of life, so it's really worthwhile to think through the kinds of things that you'd like to do outside of work. So kind of like creating your dream life as well as creating your dream job. So there's just the sky is the limit in terms of the kind of things you'd like to do. Some things that are useful are to think through things on the chart, like how many days or hours per week do you want to work? Do you have a relationship with a significant other, or would you like to have one? Or maybe you'd like to have kids in the future. What do you want your physical health to be like? Is there ways that you'd like to, contribute to your own physical health? Same with your mental health. What kind of hobbies would you like to do? Maybe you'd like to pick up something that you kind of put by the wayside for a while, or maybe there's something brand new that you'd like to do, like, I don't know, learning horseback riding, or some sport, or some extreme adventure activity, or having more time to just relax and read, or watch old movies, or whatever it is. Brainstorm that out. What's right for you? Again, are there any causes that you'd like to have time to contribute to as part of your work-life balance? So again, brainstorm that for about 5 minutes and write it down. So please do this. I can tell you, I've definitely, for me personally, this has been very impactful, and I've taken people through this exercise, and it has really been an opportunity for them for the first time in their life to really think through, sort of at a fairly deep level, what the heck they're doing and why. And it's had, for many of them, it's had a real impact on their thinking and on their future. And as you can imagine, doing this is very important for creating your dream job. If you're not working towards something that you really, really want, it's very hard to have kind of the gas in the tank and the energy and the excitement to move yourself forward, and also to engage others moving forward. So plus it's a lot of fun and sets you up for having a lot of fun and meaningful experiences moving forward. So once you've done this, I'll do this in advance. Congratulations, because this is something that most people never do. They work their entire lives and they never actually take 45 minutes to sit down and think what they actually want. So it's a huge first step. Another thing you can do with this is and this is another one of these kind of cognitive exercise, which I'd suggest you do. In the morning, review your list, and review it from a state of high energy. And all that means is feel the feeling of how great it would be for all these things to have already happened. You're in terms of where you live, in terms of the job you have, in terms of the things you're doing in your free time, the kind of relationships you have, all that kind of stuff. Those have already happened, and feel the feeling of how great it feels to do this. Again, this is just straight cognitive psychology. It may seem a little different if you've never done this sort of thing before. It's just the sort of thing that sports psychologists do with Olympic athletes. So please do this, try it out, because you certainly deserve this as much as an Olympic athlete does, or maybe you are an Olympic athlete. So thanks so much. We'll look forward to talking again soon. In the next episode, we're going to be going through laying out the next. Now that we've got kind of the energy piece laid out, and you're mapping out the components of your dream job as best as you can right now, which is totally fine. We're going to be going through, okay, what is kind of the specific strategic set of things that you do to actually get this dream job going. So we'll start talking about that next time. Thanks a lot, and look forward to talking to you again. Bye-bye.